Hi, this is Albert Munasar, parent of Sarah Munasar. SRC has been good for us in the sense that she has come a long way because of the personalized attention that they were able to give to us. She has been able to get the attention that she needs to be able to catch up. Sarah initially was a bit behind, and now we think she is well on her way to being able to be a functional student at her level and even be able to surpass what she needs to be because of the attention that she was able to get at SRC. Thank you very much for the time, and thank you for giving the dedication that she needs to become a better student.
Welcome to the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show. This talk show is presented each week by host Alina Lewis and features guests from our Caribbean islands right here on this channel. As we discuss family finances, proverbial principles, child guidance, and academics at home, guests join in weekly to have conversations that give helpful tips about how to be a better parent. Like, subscribe, follow, and share as you tune in each week for new episodes of the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show. Good evening and welcome to the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show. My name is Alina Lewis, and it is my absolute pleasure to be joining in with you this evening as we have a guided conversation. Now, of course, through this platform, we have conversations that give helpful tips about how to be a better parent each day. Today, we're happy to have Pamela Ramcharan in studio with us to discuss building a strong family unit. No one sets out to raise an unhealthy or an unhappy child or family, but many do so by default. So, what makes the difference between families that thrive and those that fail? Why do some families seem to be more close knit than others? Joining in today to talk about building a strong family unit is founder of the El Gibor Christian Network, Pamela Ramcharan. So we want to welcome her to our studio. Pamela, hi, good evening, and welcome. How are you?
I am doing great, Alina. Thank you for having me this evening. And of
And
course,
I'm really
good evening to
excited.
all our viewers.
Yes, to all our viewers, those who are live with us right now, and of course, good whatever time of day it is to those who would catch us on the replay. So, Pamela, I'm really excited to be chatting with you today because today we're talking about building a strong family unit. And of course, in starting off, I want to be able to ask you, what does it mean to build a strong family? When we're talking about a strong family, what exactly are we talking about, and how do we build this thing that we're calling a strong family? Can you take a moment and share with us?
Sure, building a strong family unit, it is very important. But what we need to understand at first, what exactly is a family? For there are different concepts of a family. We know about the nuclear family, which includes the mom, the dad, the children. There are homes in which there are single parents. There are children that are taken care of by their grandparents. And also there is the foster care system. So a home in which a group of people live together, they take care of each other. So it is not only parents and children, but anyone that lives in a home together with similarities. They come from the same genealogy even, and even in a foster care system, this is what a family is. Now, building strong family relationships in the home, that, like I said, it is very important for not just the adults, because we often think only the parent in the home, they are the ones, yes, They are responsible for ensuring that the family is well taken care of. But most important, and what includes the children as well, is having communication in a home, being able to communicate, whether it is between the mother, the father, the children, whether they are teenagers, whether they are toddlers, whether it's the grandparents, but building those strong relationships. An important aspect of that is being able to communicate, being able to share, being able to love, being able to trust each other, being able to even forgive each other. And listen, there are things in a family where these various characteristics or traits, they are necessary in order to build strong family relationships, Alina. And that is why, or that is what it means when we speak about building strong family relationships.
I totally understand, Pamela. So even as we think about these, if we were to break it down even further, can you identify for our listening audience what are those, let's say, specific values that support building a strong family unit? Because, of course, we want to encourage parents to be intentional about how they approach building their family unit and to be intentional in how they process what they should keep in mind. So, can you identify and possibly explain some core values that you are recommending parents be mindful of as they support a strong family unit?
Well, I speak from a perspective of being a religious minister. And one of the most important aspects there I would consider as a parent as well would be the grounding, the spiritual grounding in the home. That makes for a very important, that basically paves the way for building strong family relationships, because based on your spiritual backing, your spiritual grounding, that in essence leads the way or paves the way to dealing with the aspect of all those. I spoke about three specifically: love, trust, and forgiveness. And this translates into mutual respect within the home. This translates into discipline in the home among all parties that are involved. It also translates, again, in the way that we communicate with each other. And the thing is, there are many instances that may occur in a family, or many issues that may arise, especially, let's look at, for example, persons who are now or have now become parents. They are dealing with a baby in the home. There are certain values that need to be instilled, because from a baby stage, that child grows into a toddler, and then we have the adolescent stage, we have the teenage stage, and all of these things. And we have to train our children basically with these values. And in having that spiritual grounding or backing, again, it paves the way for this to be done. And what we teach our children, we should also exemplify. We should also exemplify in the way that we speak to each other, in the way that we operate, not only in the home, but even in our various circles. Whatever we do, how we live our lifestyle is very important as well when it comes to dealing with the children and building that strong family relationship. Alina.
Yes, Pamela. Now you spoke about, spirituality, sorry, being very important in building strong family unit and values associated. But can you go a bit deeper and possibly identify specific values that parents should be mindful to exemplify? Because you were saying that parents need just not to say, but they need to do. So what are those values are you recommending that parents be very mindful and intentional towards demonstrating in and out of the home?
Core values. Now we hear core values and we wonder, what exactly are these core values? This is what shapes, this is what makes the family. And again, exemplifying as the adults in the home, particularly, not so much the children, because what they see us do, what they see us, the things that we say, they will follow. And some of the values that I speak about, we're talking about things like being patient. And patience, we've heard it said that patience is a virtue. But are we really being patient when our children may do things that may get us upset? When our children or our spouses even, or even the family members that are in the home, are we patient when things happen? Or are we quick to get angry? What do we do? So one of those values being patient, another one is being honest. There is a line when it comes to honesty, because being honest, this is being truthful. This is standing up for what you believe, standing up and knowing who you are. So honesty, honest about the things that are happening, because even as parents too, and I'm dealing particularly with parents, because we should note that what children see, that is what they will follow. Their little brains, it's like a sponge when they are young, and it soaks up everything that happens around them. And they are sometimes at a particular age, they do not know what is right from what is wrong. So having that value of honesty, teaching our children to be honest. And these can be simple things: honesty in the home, honesty at school. And I'll give you an example. Honesty, we have sometimes our children, they are in the school environment. They may pick up another student's pencil, for example. And I know many of you may have experienced that. They may pick up a pencil or a pen that does not belong to them. What do you do when you find an unfamiliar pencil in their school bags? Do you say, well, that's okay, it's all right, it's just a pencil? Or do you tell them that this does not belong to them? They need to return it to the rightful owner. What do you do? And that is just one example. So honesty, a very important core value in building the family unit. Another, we can look at trustworthiness. Are we trustworthy people? Can people depend on us when it comes to having discussions as adults? Even our children. I have children myself, 2 children. One has just turned a teenager and the other is younger. When they come to us with different things, can they trust us with what they are coming to us with? And again, that is something that we need to exemplify. They will know without any doubt in their mind that my mother is trustworthy, my father is trustworthy. I tell them a secret, and sometimes the secret doesn't have to be anything that is, overly huge, something very simple. What do you do with that? So you build trust in that way, building trustworthiness in your children. And there are many other values that we can speak about. And, I just made a simple note of having courage, being courageous. And this is especially necessary in times of difficulty, when things may happen to us, when we are faced with making certain decisions. For example, my children, in having courage to stand up again for what they believe. For this is what I see my parents doing. This is what I see the elders in my family doing. And I will follow them. I like what they are doing. And, and they will not be able to put it into words, but they are, again, it is easy. It makes it very easy when you do these things and they can copy what you do. So those are just, again, some basic core values that can be incorporated when building a strong family unit.
I understand, and I really appreciate those points that you're making because, and even how practical you made the examples. Because even as you spoke about being an example, being patient, being honest, being trustworthy, even though you would have given examples of these things being applicable in how we deal with persons outside of the home, it also supports what happens in the home because our family unit becomes stronger because we are patient with each other. There is more understanding being demonstrated because I tell you the truth and you tell me the truth. I trust you. We trust each other. And because we trust each other, we're strong together because we're supporting each other. I don't feel like I don't want to support you because you don't be honest with me. No. That when we have that courage to open ourselves, our hearts, and do what is right, I could have confidence in you as my husband, my child, my wife, or brother to sister. So I get that, and that is really noteworthy. I thank you so much for sharing those very practical examples of how we could involve and build those family values. And even as we continue on with our bit of chat, I really wanted to ask you, how can parents promote these values? I know you talked about setting the example, but are there, let's say, maybe activities or approaches that could be had within the home that would promote healthy family values that ultimately support the building of the family unit?
I started off speaking about, Alina, the actual communication within the home. Now, that is a very important aspect because some of us, as parents as well, because we are the adults, because we are the older ones in the home, we are the ones that are running the home and the children, taking care of everything, working, cleaning, whatever the case is. And we do not sometimes take the time to communicate with others that are in our home, especially our children. And that's the thing with children, they seem to be the ones that are affected most when we do not communicate, because some activities, and I'll tell you something with regards to our children in particular. Now, we were having a discussion even before we came on, and with our children, giving our full attention to our children. Now, that is something that is difficult for many of us because we are doing everything else. We are cooking, we are, taking care of the laundry, or we are working. Some of us are in school and all sorts of other activities. And we fail to give that full attention that is needed, and not only to our children, but also to our spouse and our brother, our sister, our mother, our grandparents, whoever is in the home. Now, that is one activity. So sitting, giving your full undivided attention in spite of how you may actually be feeling. So you may be tired. You just had a very long day. You came home. What you want to do is sit, and you want to put your feet up and you want to sit back and relax, maybe take in a movie, maybe you want to de-stress. But if there is an issue, or if your children or any one of those persons, your spouse or your parents, they come to you with something, you need to let them know, I am here. I am listening. I care. And there are also fun activities in promoting a strong family relationship, like setting times where you can actually have fun with your family. So your family does not have to be a boring thing. Having a family is not just being inside a house everybody is sitting down at the computer, for that is what seems to be the case, or what is happening even in today's society, that many families seem disjointed because everybody is doing their own thing. They are not coming together. It seems as though gone are the days when a family would sit together and have dinner or lunch or breakfast together. Gone are the days when a family would sit together and look at the movies on television, and have popcorn together and give jokes, or even come together for a family fun night, a time just where they play games and they laugh and they just enjoy each other's companies. So that is another activity that will help promote building that strong family relationship. And then also knowing the persons that are in your home, you can also anticipate what they need before they even come to you, because you are aware of the things that are going on around you. You are aware of your children. You may seem to be busy, you may seem to be doing all sorts of things, but you pay attention to what is happening around you. So that's another thing. And that brings into question the use of social media and the internet and all of these platforms. We spend so much time on these platforms that we do not have the time to pay attention to what is happening in our homes. So that is another aspect there in promoting, so you, most of the time, even when you are looking at people, even sometimes you visit a home, you see the adults, they are sitting, they are on their phones, the children as well. That is what they are seeing the parent doing. Remember, what they see us do, that is what they will follow. And also, always make time. Always make time. Nothing is too important for your family. Nothing is more important than your family. So these are just some of the activities. There are many other things that can be done, but these, I believe, are very important, that we should not only, I'm saying it this evening, but these are things that should be inculcated in our lives.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'm so here with you on that. Thank you for sharing those points. So we want to get into Q&A. We always do Q&A on the Caribbean Parenting Show. But before we jump in, because the production of this show is sponsored by the SRC Private Primary School, we just want to pause for a quick moment so we can get a word in from them as we learn about a new program that is upcoming from them this September. Introducing the SRC Elementary Program. Through the SRC Elementary Program, your child will have a fun time learning as we keep our kids productively engaged through participation in various learning structures. Learning activities include math readiness, reading readiness, theater arts, literacy skills, STEM activities, and positive social skills. Now, in order to give individual attention, our classes are small, so register today. So one question that we have this afternoon, Pamela, says, how do we know as parents we are setting the right foundation for our children? What are your views on this?
That's an excellent question, Alina.
Yes.
And how do we know? How we know is by what we do in circumstances when situations arise. What is our reaction?
Right.
I'm not looking at the kids now. I'm looking at the adults in the situation. I'm looking at the parents, the aunties, the uncles, the grandparents. How do we react when situations arise? Maybe it's an unfriendly situation. Maybe it is a situation where someone may be angry. What is our reaction to that situation? And that is what will determine. That is how we know the foundation that we are setting, by looking at our own selves, looking at our own actions. No matter what comes our way, it depends on our reaction to that thing, to that situation, to that circumstance. How do we handle it? How do we approach it?
That's really interesting because usually I could think that for most parents, they would like to think that knowing whether they're setting the right foundation or not, you need to look at the kids. But you're actually bringing a different perspective today by saying, no, if you want to know if you're setting the right foundation to yourself, for the kids, sorry, you want to look at you because how you handle situations as a parent determines what we're laying for the children and what they would follow. I love that. The second question says, as parents, we teach our kids morals and values at home with a hope that when they are among their peers, they don't submit to peer pressure. How can we prevent this from happening? So we're looking at taking it
Uh,
beyond just what we said, but how they're able to now, I guess, take those values and extend it into their social circles and their schools and so on.
and again, listen, our parents and adults cannot escape these things. We do tend to put a lot of pressure on our children when it comes to this. We tell them, you know, this is what you should be doing, this is how it should be done. But what example are we setting? That for me is a major part, and that is responsible for what we see happening with our young people, our young children. Even in the school environment, we see that they are submitting to peer pressure. Again, what is our behavior to situations? Do we just get angry? Do we react? I know there is a saying that says behavior breeds behavior. But if you
Right.
set the foundation at home, if you set the example at home, then I promise you that your children, their foundation will be so strong. The posts and the you know how you build a house, you ensure that there is enough cement to sand and all of these things, and the steel that you use, and you tie them together.
Yeah.
I promise you that they will not fall or submit to peer pressure. It goes all the way back to our homes, all the way back to our homes.
I get it because if what you're saying is that the parent has the greatest place of influence. I think that's what I'm hearing you saying, yeah? The parent has the greatest place of influence. And because the parent has the position, the potential, and the capacity to have the greatest place of influence in their children's life, it's really the position of the parent to position themselves to take that place of influence, make impact, influence, build, pour into them. So by the time they leave your home and they leave that strong family unit that you have built up in the home to go out of the home, they take those values. They're not going out empty to get filled by negative values or values that contradict what you're promoting in your home. But because you have them filled up, by the time they leave their home, they're already full. So when they meet something that is contradictory to the values of the home, it's instinctive to say, no, I'm good. No, I'm not going to do that. No, we don't do things like that because they're filled up. So I think, and what I really received from you today, Pamela, is you really encouraging parents to fill up your kids, fill them up, pour into them. That when we talk about building the strong family unit, and we're talking about involving values within the home, we're thinking that let us extend that patience, let us extend the practice of honesty, let us develop trustworthiness, let us develop all the characteristics that we want. So when we build that strong foundation in the home and we fill our kids up with what they need, or we find ways to do so, it makes it easy that when they leave your home and they go out into the world, they could remain strong because we fill them up. And I get that. And I really get that. And I appreciate you just really sharing so much that would have brought us, for me and the listening audience, into that place of understanding. Now, I have a question that I want to pose to you, which is I can imagine a parent saying, um, my child is already having challenges, or my child is already affected by peer pressure. Because let's say maybe there are many reasons why sometimes parents feel limited in their ability to reach their kids. And so maybe you have a teenager on your hand, or maybe an older child, 9, 10, 11, whatever, and you're seeing that challenge with peer pressure. My question for you is, what are your thoughts regarding what a parent could do at that stage to sort of bring that child back in and rope them in and start the building process after they've maybe experienced some challenges? Do you have any thoughts to share on that?
I do actually. Put yourself in the shoes of your child. We are living in a society that has changed tremendously from when I was a child. When you were a child, Alina,
Yeah.
technology, it seems to be taking over the world. We need to, and some of us may say, how can I put myself in my child's shoes? How can I put myself in my child's shoes? You know, they may not, we think that they do not understand. We think that they do not know, but they know a lot more than we think they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And we need to come down to their level. We need to come down. Yes, we need to come down to their level to understand. And once again, once you have that relationship, and even though your child may be at a particular age where it is maybe difficult to speak with them, to communicate with them, maybe they are spending a lot of time in their room, they are not coming out to have conversations with you, there is something that is going on with them. And because that foundation was not set, they are unable to communicate it to you. But if you were to put yourself in the shoes of your child, and I'm saying all of this evening, and this applies to me as well, because there are things my children would come to me with, and I try to put myself in their shoes and come down to their level. They are very young, you know, they take in everything, whether it is negative, whether it is positive, but we have to put ourselves in their place. How would we feel? How would we deal with this situation? And like I said, it may be difficult for some of us as parents to do it, but in order to ensure that our children do not have to face these things, we have to first understand it ourselves.
Got it. And then once we understand and we put ourselves in their shoes, it means that we're going to now be equipped to support them and to maybe better guide them. Yeah, definitely. So, Pamela, I so appreciate you being here for this conversation. And so, even as we wrap up this particular conversation, I just want to ask, what closing thoughts do you want to leave with parents as they now, go into that soaking mode and ponder about how they could extend themselves to build or strengthen their family unit? What closing thoughts do you have to share?
The first thing I want to tell them is do not be too hard on yourself. Sometimes we beat ourselves up because our children may not be the way that we expect them to be.
Right.
You know, we do have high expectations for them, But do not beat yourself up because they may not be at that place. And in not beating yourself up about it, you can come with a different approach. The way that you approach your children or your spouse or your grandparents, depending on the situation, that is where the change will begin to happen. That is where the transformation will begin to happen. You take a different approach. If you are usually an aggressive person, let's try a calm demeanor. If you speak very loudly, let's try a softer tone. If you demand them and you say, you must do this, this is your chore, you have to do it, let us take a different approach. Can you help me with this? Or I will help you to do this. So our approaches in dealing with things with regards, and I deal specifically with children, but this goes across the board, whether it's our spouses, our parents, our siblings. And again, I remind you, do not beat yourself up over the fact that they may not be where you want them to be. And from a spiritual perspective, this for them is a process, as well as for you as a parent. You know that, and all of us, we know that we were created by God for greatness. And there is a plan and a purpose for each of our lives, no matter our social standing, no matter our financial situation.
Yes.
Know that there is a plan and a purpose for each of us, young, middle-aged, mature, all of us.
Got it. So Pamela, thank you so much for joining in this afternoon for this episode of the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show, chatting with the viewing audience about how, it's been a very sobering conversation, leaving our audience with much to think about, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Yeah?
Yes, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So mummies, daddies, aunties, uncles, thank you for taking time to join us for this episode of the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show. As a bi-weekly show, it's streamed digitally each Wednesday at 8 p.m. and Sunday at 4 p.m. right here on this channel. If you've not yet done so, be sure to like, subscribe, share this video with those that you know would benefit from it, that would learn, that would be encouraged. And once again, we thank you for taking time to tune in once again another week for this episode of the show. So until again, next time, we thank you, have a good one, and take care.
Hi, this is Albert Munasar, parent of Sarah Munasar. SRC has been good for us in the sense that she has come a long way because of the personalized attention that they were able to give to us. She has been able to get the attention that she needs to be able to catch up. Sarah initially was a bit behind, and now we think she is well on her way to being able to be a functional student at her level and even be able to surpass what she needs to be because of the attention that she was able to get at SRC. Thank you very much for the time, and thank you for giving the dedication that she needs to become a better student.